Do you want an amazing marriage? Are you ready to take your marriage to the next level? Then stick around for your Marriage Matters podcast with marriage coach Lynn. Let's put some fun and sizzle into your relationship.
50 half marathons in 50 states. Can you imagine jet setting around the country running 50 13.2 mile races, all in the span of 6 years? Yes, we're talking from Alaska to Hawaii and everything in between. Hi friends, my guest is 56-year-old Olivia Story, a CPA from the Sunshine State of Florida who did just that. On today's show, we'll talk about the challenges, the training, the setbacks, the successes, and even maybe some of the challenges that appeared in her marriage. But mainly we want to talk about what were the benefits in Olivia's life from taking on this goal. Olivia, welcome to Your Marriage Matters.
Hi, Lynn. Nice to be here.
I'm so excited to have you here. This is your first interview about this great accomplishment, isn't it?
Well, thank you very much for saying that. It has been an accomplishment, but more it's just been a fun thing for me. It was really more of a gift to myself, more of a selfish thing than really doing anything else. But I did enjoy it, kind of a crazy goal, but I think life is short, so we should all do something a little crazy as long as it's good for us. So.
That's great. You know, variety adds to the spice of life. One of the things that happens in marriages are people get bored, and we really have to make an effort to pick new goals and do adventurous things. So I applaud you. Ladies and gentlemen, I have known Olivia for 40 years. We go back to high school in the small town of Rocky Hill, Connecticut.
That's
a beautiful state to spend your childhood in. We had a great time, and I've just enjoyed having the friendship with Olivia for all of these years, and I followed her in this 6-year arduous, awesome, amazing journey of doing 50 half marathons in 50 states. Can you imagine? It's even difficult for one person to set a goal of doing one half marathon, never mind 50. So I want to ask you, how did you come upon even making this goal?
Well, it all started, I think when I went, I've only done 2 full marathons, one in Hartford, Connecticut, and one up in Sugarloaf, Maine. And the one up in Sugarloaf, Maine, I met a woman who was in the 50-state full marathon club. She was older than me, probably 5 or 6 years, 6, 7 years older than me. And she beat me in the full marathon club, and it was her last state in the 50-state full club. And I was talking to her, had dinner with her the night before, and we were talking, and I just applauded her and her fitness. And she said that the Maine was her last state, and I thought, oh, that would be such a fun thing to do. However, the full marathoning did not appeal to me. Number one, the distance. In my opinion, you have to really be a dedicated long distance runner to do well in the full marathon. Well, meaning having a good race time and put in a lot of training time, which I was not willing to do. But I thought, oh, if there's a 50-state half club, boy, that would be great. So as soon as I got home, I keyed in the Google 50-state half club, and there it was, 50-state half, and I joined up immediately. And I thought, this is for me, traveling and running. This is right up my alley. So, and I've been hooked ever since.
Oh, that's great. That's great. I like how you set a goal that was manageable for you. You have a husband, you have a dog, you have full-time career as an accountant, a CPA. And so you felt that taking on half marathon would be something you could endure for a long term to do 50 states. It was achievable.
Yes. Yes, I knew I would be setting myself up for more than I probably could achieve if I signed up for the 50 state full club at this point in my life. And the level of training, that's what, I probably could sign up and do the fulls walking, but that wasn't my goal. And, I applaud the people that do the fulls and walk or run or Galloway. That's great, but that didn't appeal to me. So I thought the halves, and I do fairly well in the halves. I thought that's right up my alley. Yeah, I think it's important people to have something fun in their lives besides work and fit it in somehow, physical activity and but yet fun at the same time. So.
That's great. So I'm really intrigued, and I would love to talk about your training. How does an athlete continuously train and keep in good shape for 6 years? And when you started this, did you have a goal as to about approximately how many years did you want to finish it before you were 55? Did you want to take up to 10 years? Let's get into sharing with us, please, your training.
Okay. Yeah, the training averaged about double the distance of a half marathon. So that would be 26, 27 miles per week. Not every week, but that's what my goal would be. And so that was achievable for most of my time. As you know, I've had left foot problems, hammer toe surgery in 2014. I was off running for only 7 weeks, and then I did Omaha, Nebraska. I did walk most of that. I was in last place in my age group. I felt fine about that because I actually finished. I got my finisher's medal and I got my state. So last place or no last place in my age group, I felt great about it. And then recently I had bunion surgery 2 weeks ago. I did want to get my 50 states finished before getting the bunion surgery, which was just, the bunion was getting more and more painful as time went on with running. So I really didn't have a set plan of what age I wanted to finish. Just whatever I could do, whatever fit in my schedule on a month-to-month basis and my vacation time at work. It was just, I kind of just played it by ear. So
great. Were there any races that you had to cancel? Any races that you had to cancel?
No races I had to cancel. None of them canceled for weather. A few plane cancellations that I had to endorse, spending extra time in an airport. But overall, I feel very fortunate that none of them were canceled. I feel very fortunate. I was never injured in the middle where I had to drop in the middle of a race. Some were better than others, but overall I feel very fortunate, very blessed, and met some just great people around the country that are in the club, and just a fun, I guess runners are kind of crazy, they're kind of fun, but that's all right. They're a good kind of crazy, I think.
Great. And as far as your training, you're from Florida, and it's humid and hot during the summer. Did you squeeze in your runs at like 4 or 5 in the morning, or early morning weekend runs? How did you work that out?
Yes, I've always been a morning runner. For me, there are some people, one friend of mine who still runs, she's still here in Sarasota, fit girl, and she likes to run in the afternoon. I give her a lot of credit in that heat, but that's not for me. I just love to get up, have my coffee, have some water, stretch a little, and it starts my day off really well. It's cooler in the morning. Even in the winter, I like to run in the morning. It's just a good way to start my day, and it's behind me. And it's really peaceful in the morning before all the traffic, all the people in traffic, and it works well for me.
Great. Let's see, what I would like to talk about, any challenges that you had, let's just say in your marriage. Was this difficult to be going away. If you did this in 6 years,
Mm-hmm.
this averages up to 9 states a year. And so did your husband go with you? Did he miss you? Was it hard to be away?
Yeah, every trip I took, with the exception of a few, there were a few I did take a full week away so that I could fit in, a few states in one weekend, then the following weekend, a state or two. I've done a few trips where I took a whole week, but a lot of the trips I would just take a long weekend, or just a weekend. Ed, my husband, he did accompany me on a few states, Louisiana, Texas, where he's from, Connecticut. He went up for the half and did the half with me, and he was up for my first full marathon up there, Hartford, which was nice. He's not that much on air travel, as you know. He's a major cruiser, boater, and a major runner. Biggest influence with my change in fitness and running. But yeah, he somewhat supported me. I think mainly not so much with the travel, but because I was running. I wasn't just traveling, I was running and traveling, and he's a big promoter of fitness. And so it was all good.
Yeah, I think what I hear you saying is that we inspire each other. And because Ed has such a great level of fitness and he's nationally ranked, he's won, he even continues to win in his age group and does well. And he inspired you, and I'm sure that you've inspired many others. And maybe you can think about some people you might have inspired along this journey and share some stories with us. But let me tell you, you inspired my son Rob. My son Rob is a runner. He's about 30. And 5 of the half marathons, we accompanied you. West Virginia,
Okay.
Virginia, Asheville, North Carolina,
Yes.
Philly, and
They're all fun.
and Annapolis. And Robbie did all of those half marathons. And he's going to do another one in April in Waynesboro, Virginia.
That's
So you inspired him, and we were excited and very impressed. And so, do you know of anybody else you might have inspired that you can think of?
That's a good question. I don't know. I guess, I try to inspire people, and then sometimes, as you know, people inspire me, and
I
I
think
think sometimes also I think it's a personal thing. If somebody really wants to change their lives, which for me, I did make some major changes in my life prior to meeting Ed, and really focused on my running. And we met each other at a half marathon here in Sarasota. But it was really a change in myself. And then he continued to inspire me to keep that change going. Because then once I did that, I realized that I was onto a good thing, a good change in my life, not a bad change. So.
that's great. That's great. And I'm sure one goal begets another. So in the back of your mind, you're probably planning for your next phase in life. Usually in our mid-50s, we're thinking about what might be our second career. Will we retire or leave and transition from one stage of the life to the next? And I'm sure you're tossing around some different things that you want to do with your life, and it's all positive. And it's, I don't know, Olivia, I'm also an athlete. As you know, I'm a swimmer, and I am a big proponent of high levels of exercise will keep you happy. You won't fall into depression. You get the vitamin D, the endorphins, a zest for life. You feel younger, you're fit, you're healthier. And so that is just that whole energy. That's what I see about you. The whole energy just really, it's like a snowball effect. It adds to the rest of your life. So, like, you've been sharing with us some of the benefits you've gotten from this big goal. Any other type of benefits that you see have trickled into your life that we haven't yet talked about so far?
Well, you inspire me also with your swimming, and I know, as we know, you you were always athletic, even in high school when I was um, an overweight cigarette smoker. Very different, very different. Well, still am a little overweight, but not as overweight as I
No,
used to
you're
be.
not.
So,
Yeah.
yeah, going forward, I've learned also with having difficult things in my life that we have to have patience, and with this surgery, this bunion surgery, which is a major surgery, I have to have patience, but yet I can still move my body with that. I've been doing some floor exercises and arm weights. I've been watching a lot of videos on blogs of people that have had the surgery, and they're keeping their fitness with yoga, um, weights, not any high impact, and no running for a while, but that's okay. Like you said, as long as we're keeping our bodies moving, I think people underestimate the power or the benefits of exercise on your thinking and your emotions, as you mentioned. So I want to keep that going, even though I can't run for a while. Um, and so that's
Yeah.
where I'm at now.
That's good. And as you're talking, I'm thinking that exercise is a prevention against Alzheimer's. Exercise, you think that people who have memory issues are people who are not using their brain, but the whole body plays a big part in our overall emotional and mental health in the present and into the future. Okay,
I
so
agree with you.
let's talk about a couple of the experiences in some of your states. I'd like to ask you, what was the most interesting state you ran? What was the most dangerous? Perhaps there was a dangerous race that you ran. So let's try to pick out some interesting stories from some of the extreme or the memorable states.
Okay. Yeah, the most interesting, I'd have to say that was when I went and I did take a full week off. I ran Lowell, Massachusetts, and then drove up. Then the following week, I drove up to um, St. Johnsbury, Vermont, did a race on a Saturday, Kingdom Challenge, and the next day drove to North Conway, New Hampshire, and that was not only very kind of like an adrenaline rush because I had very limited time to hop back in the car. I had not even time to shower. Luckily, it was cold and I really didn't sweat that much, so I could just jump back in the rent-a-car, drive down to Manchester, New Hampshire airport to catch my plane. But what I remember in that race was there was a girl who was her parents were in their local running club up there, and she was missing, a teenager. She had been missing for a while, and we all said a prayer for her um, to come home, for the family to find her. And I prayed. I put a shirt in the woods, left it there as a prayer for them to find her, and she was found, I think, in less than a year. I don't remember her name, but that was in North Conway, New Hampshire. A very pretty town. Stayed at an Airbnb, a woman's house. She was such a nice lady. And it was just they've all been great trips, but that was most memorable. Most dangerous, that was Griffith Park, California, which was a trail run up in the hills and mountains, and I have a new respect for trail runners, that it can be very dangerous. So for those out there that haven't done a trail run, I'd recommend you go with a buddy runner and stay close to each other. You can, if you get lost, sometimes they don't mark the trails that well, and if it's a very small race with few runners, you might not see the person ahead of you. And it can happen. Fortunately, it didn't happen with me. I was very cautious, But yeah, they've all been great, though. They've all been great, and all the ones with Robbie and you and Diane. Um, it's all been a great, great, fun part of my life. I feel really fortunate.
Yeah, that's something we can talk about too. Not only is this an athletic goal, it's also social. Now you've traveled with Diane on at least 12 states, and then
Mhm.
tell us about Alaska. You had a couple of friends go with you to Alaska.
Yes, yes. Diane and Patty and Sharon, also from high school, and it was a great trip out there. Also, the race was nice. The country was beautiful. The weather could have been a little better. Then come to find out, the weather can be, overcast and rainy. So, but we saw a lot of. We went from Anchorage all the way down to Kenai, the Kenai fjords. We had pretty poor weather then, and then the race in Anchorage. I met a girl, and I've done a few races with her. Suzanne is her name. She lives in Colorado. Very fit and very fit hiking, running girl. Still keep in touch with her. And then we went up to Denali National Park, and that was spectacular. So that was a great trip also.
Mm-hmm.
That was wonderful.
Good. Okay, so budget is probably something you kind of just look the other way. Did you have a budget? Did you try to keep things Airbnb when possible, sharing a room when possible? Did you stick to an airline that gave you points? What were some cost cutting measures that you did on this 50-state journey?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, well, as you know, I'm just a big I just love Southwest Airlines, and luckily, since I was within the states, because they don't have a lot of international flights. I think most of it's out of the country right now is down in the Caribbean area, but I was lucky enough to most of the states to use the Southwest airline card and get points, and yes, I would search around. And try to get deals. However, I try to stay in safe. Sometimes if you compromise on the cheap end, you might stay at a place you might not feel that safe, and that has happened more than once. But yeah, I look back, I think, oh, I could have bought a nice car with that money. It's probably more than an economy car, probably like a nice mid-sized car with the money I've spent on the racing, but I'd rather have this. I think this is a lot more. I have a lot of great memories. The car would depreciate where my memories still, they're appreciating, they grow. I think, oh, I'm glad I did this. I like experiences more than things now, I think. I like things, but I think experiences are more important.
Yeah, I think that's great. I was thinking that a car is just going to be something you forget about 10 years from now, but you're building memories, you're building experiences, and again, you're putting adventure into your life. You're changing the channel a little bit. So, what advice would you have to somebody who might be watching today and thinking, "Wow, maybe I can do that, but I don't know. That might be too much." What advice do you have someone who might be thinking about doing this?
I think one step at a time, or gradual. It's a gradual thing. You're not going to go out and run a marathon in your first race. And in your training, if you've never run, you might not want to start running. You might want to start just walking fast, and then when you feel comfortable, move up to a walk run. It's very gradual. Your body doesn't, I don't think, at least my body doesn't respond to rapid ramp up, changes. I have to gradually warm up into increasing my tolerance, or whatever you want to call that, in exercise. My stamina. It's a gradual thing. doesn't happen overnight. You have to have patience, but you have to be persistent. You have to, okay, this week I did 5 miles. Next week I'll do 6 miles.
Yes,
So,
that's good. Very good, because especially taking 5 to 6 years to do this, or however long you're going to do it, you want to have recovery built in. You don't want to be foolish. And the 50-year-old might need more babying of the body than the 25-year-old. But everybody needs to pay attention to their body and not push to the extreme. Some people think some people are pushing to the extreme, but no, every individual body is different. Some people can run and have very few issues into their 70s, and other people realize, I don't know if my body wants to run. I'm over 40 and I have arthritis and I don't think I should push. So you have to be, it sounds like you're saying, you have to be sensible, reasonable, and be patient.
yes, and you should listen to your body. I definitely agree with you. Listen to your body and just keep pushing a little bit of, I don't know, good pain versus bad pain. Pain from just exercising, okay, but pain where, something cracked or something broke or I strained something, no, yeah, that's not good.
Okay. Well, as we wind down, we've talked about some of the challenges you've had, some of the interesting states you've been to. We've talked about your training, and I definitely feel inspired, and I'm so glad that you came on the show. Are there any final thoughts that you have?
Well, I just really appreciate you interviewing me. I just think that's very nice. Thank you very much. And going forward, I hope that I can inspire some people. I think everybody has the answers in themselves, but I think it's good to be social. I really love being in the 50 state club and meeting other runners all over the country. And then right here in Sarasota, there's a great local running club. And you know what? You don't need to travel to have fun. There are a lot of great people right around me, that great runners right here in Sarasota. I'm glad, and I'm sure all over the place, but I appreciate you taking the time to interview me. It's been a lot of fun. Thank you.
And I wanted to add that your final state was Hawaii in January, so this just wrapped up. And how did you feel at the finish line on that day? Did you feel excited, or what did you feel?
I felt tired. Very tired and hot. It wasn't one of my better races. I was pretty slow. I forget the time. For me, it was kind of slow, but I was glad it was over with. Very pretty course, though. A lot of 50 staters there, and that was the best part. And I told all of them too. I said, "You guys make this club great," and I'm so happy to be part of this club because it's the people that make the club. And just seeing a lot of them there. We had a great meet-up dinner the night before the race. Got to see a lot of them that I hadn't seen in a while. And yeah, it's nice because you run, you can see a lot of other people out there. And I think, no, you don't have to be a runner to do outdoor exercise. As you know, swimming's great, biking's great. I think it's good to get out in nature. I think it's very good for your mind and body, as you had mentioned. So.
Okay. All right. Well, we athletes like to keep score. So what is your PR for a half marathon?
My PR for a half marathon was in Naples, Florida. That was in January 2012. And I did a 1:58 there. So I was very happy with that. I told myself after I did the first marathon full marathon in Hartford, Connecticut, I told myself I'm not going to sign up for another full until I break a 2-hour half. So, and that was October 2011. So in January 2012, I broke the 2 hours, and then I signed up for the second full marathon, but realized that the full marathoning was just too much for me. As you mentioned, we all have to find our niche and what we like to do. So, but yeah, I was very happy to do that, even though I've only done that twice, but
Okay.
well, broke 2 hours, so.
Great. And how will you celebrate you will be getting an award at an award ceremony, or are you celebrating on your own? What is there any final celebration?
There is an award ceremony. Um, I'm going to it more to socialize, and yeah, I guess I get an award, and I have all these finisher medals, but more importantly, it's the memories that matter to me, and it's been really nice. And they do have every year. Nicole, the founder of the club, she's a great girl. She's a great entrepreneur who's the founder of this club. Every year we have an awards ceremony. This year it's in Ocean City, New Jersey. I may or may not do the run, but I'll be there for the dinner. So looking forward to that.
All right. Well, I want to thank you, Olivia, for sharing your
Thank you.
motivational success story. You overcame, you persevered, you conquered. Friends,
Thank
this
you.
is what you need to do in your marriage. So, thank you, Olivia, and
Thank you, Lynn. I appreciate it. It's been a lot of fun.
okay, and until next time, make your marriage great.